things that seems to hold people back from doing the things that they want or the things that they need to do is fear. One of the biggest things that keeps people back from doing what they believe is right or from trying something new. Fear. Simple as that. The simplest factor behind all of those problems that we run into. And I learned this from simply, wearing the mask. I'm not saying that everyone feared it. As a matter of fact, I would say a large portion of people weren't afraid of it at all. Some of them were concerned. Actually, I would say that a large portion of people would have been concerned. But I would say that at the same time, those are the same people that could, that their concern could easily be diffused by simply saying hello or how are you doing, showing that you're, friendly in nature. And once that happens, then the number of people that are concerned out of fear, pretty much, I wouldn't say disappears, but it goes down quite a bit. In truth, there aren't a lot of people out there that are terrified by what I do. Now, there are a lot of people that are die-hard in believing that it is, but it's not. And I've seen enough people, I've talked to enough people to know that that is true. Mind you, whenever it comes to a situation where someone says, oh, you're not that experienced, you haven't met enough people, or, this terrifies and whatnot, it's the same thing over and over and over again, and in truth, it does get annoying. Now, I don't necessarily believe what they're saying is true, but in a way, it actually makes me more and more want to prove to them wrong. Prove to them that, no, the world isn't like that. The world isn't such a terrible place. It's only as terrible as we interpret it based on the limited knowledge that we're given. Now, I'm not going to lie. There are a lot of bad things that happen in our world. But it doesn't necessarily mean that life is hopeless and that we should simply give up and keel over, because from the way that most people talk to me about, oh, you should never do something different because, it doesn't fit in with the whole way that things are going. Well, I'm sorry, but the way most people talk to me about this sort of thing, it's easy to simply assume that they're just giving up on the world. And the best thing that you could do to live a happy life is to follow along with the practices that people are commonly interested in and just wait it out and see what happens. Well, the thing is, when you're not interactive with the world, if you're not working with it, not maintaining it, just simply living off what it creates, then who's going to run the machine that's going to basically what's the word for it? That's going to allow us to survive. That's not the word I was looking for, but basically, that's all it is. Survival. That's what these people are talking about, is survival. Not, I'd like to use the word thrival, but I don't think that exists. But thriving over surviving is the way that I like to believe. Not surviving over thriving. Because the way from what I've seen and what I've experienced, now I'm not going to lie, I'm 22 years old, so I'm not as old as some other people may be, and I may not have as much experience as others do. But I do believe down in my heart that there are two oppositions at this point that we have to fight to maintain a balance over. Or I wouldn't say a balance necessarily, because most people interpret balance as an even distribution of something. And as far as, well, let's put it this way. Love is what allows us to survive. So the idea of thriving off of love is something that I think that we should look towards. Fear is something that envelops our world. We can't live on fear. Fear is a survival tactic. Fear is something, well, even in the most commonplace. Fear is, for example, fight or flight. Fear is a tool. Fear is a useful tool for survival. It's not a useful tool, or rather, it's not a useful feeling when it comes to large amounts. And it can't be something that's held on to for a long time, or sat on for a long time, if we can use that metaphor. It's something that has to be dealt with. Fears can't be sat on, and I think we gotten a little bit off topic. But let's see if I can gain my thought back. So originally we were talking about how I started off in my childhood, and basically how I grew up and I became independent, and such. And yes,